following program is a production of Hōʻike Kauaʻi Community Media.
Aloha, and welcome to this special series of interviews with your Kauaʻi County Council candidates. I'm Lexi Jones, the Vice Chair of Hōʻike Community Television.
And I'm Mark Perriello with the Kauai Chamber of Commerce. We're honored to bring you these conversations, giving each candidate the opportunity to share their vision for our island's future.
Today, we'll be speaking with Bernard Carvalho, who's eager to share his ideas and plans for our community. These interviews are an important part of our democratic process, giving you the chance to learn more about who's running and why.
Our hope is that these conversations inspire you to engage in the process and to vote. Every voice matters, and your voice is crucial in shaping the future of Kauai.
So let's dive in. Please welcome Bernard to the conversation.
Aloha, I'm so thankful to be here with our team members and just ready to share my knowledge.
Great. We're happy to have you. And so our first question is, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and why you've chosen to take up the kuleana of leadership in our community.
Yeah, I've been working in community for many, many years, wearing different hats. But as a council member, from being the former mayor to being a civil servant, and then now as a council member, it kind of gives me a good cross balance of everything and understanding. And as a council member, I know we have lots of legislative work to do, but it's all about relationships, right? So I'm totally connected to what we need to do. Working closely with my fellow council members, but the bottom line is getting things done for a community, reaching out from keiki to kupuna. And whatever experiences I've had for myself, I bring to the table, and I'm learning as well. And at the same time, making sure that we get things done for the people that we serve. So as a council member, I look forward to working closely. This is going to be my third term coming up, and so I'm very thankful for the opportunity to serve.
All right, great. Perfect. Thank you.
Well, tuning into a hot topic of conversation is our housing affordability.
Yeah.
Kauai faces a significant challenge in providing affordable housing for its residents. The demand of affordable workforce housing continues to outpace supply, while rising house costs and the prevalence of off-island investments exacerbate the issue. The community has been exploring various strategies to address these challenges, including increasing the supply of affordable housing, providing rental assistance, and supporting community land trusts. Now the question is, given the ongoing housing crisis on Kauaʻi, what specific strategies would you prioritize to increase housing affordability?
Yeah, obviously housing is a big concern for all of us, being born and raised here, and then my own children, I'm so thankful they're able to stay home, but it took a lot of us, similar to our situation, to keep things moving in our community. I've had the opportunity to be involved in many different housing projects on the island. So it all takes resources, connecting. As a council member, we did several bills to assure that we have at least some source of revenue coming in. But when you talk housing, my experience with Kolopua and Hanalei and Kaniko'o right here in Nihui, and Limaola, all of those projects took partnership, took all different levels, pulling resources together from the county to the state to the federal to the community. It's all about that. And I know we can talk about housing and all that, but something has to be done now. And the bottom line is the land part of it that we need to secure. And then the infrastructure that needs all the resources first before we even can build anything. And I know that, like from my experience, we've worked in different communities and on different projects. The big one coming up right here in Lihui is with Grow Farm, and working closely with DHHL and the county, securing 350 acres. But the bottom line, again, I'm going to say, is about water, wastewater, and the infrastructure part of whatever we've got to develop. And the bottom line is keeping our families home, our children home, and not having to move away. And at the same time, what is affordable? So there's different levels of that. So I can tell you the different projects I've been involved in and actually completed and done, and others that are forthcoming. But housing in general, at all levels, as a council member, I'm always advocating for whatever we need to do, and it takes administration and council working closely together. But again, my experience has been, if we can each put what we need to do to make sure that we have the resources available, then housing will come.
There you go.
Thank you.
So can I ask a follow-up question
Yes.
here? So one of the challenges, I think, to our affordable housing projects is the not in my backyard sort of mentality. And even larger than that, right, there's people will, file these lawsuits, right, to prevent things from moving forward. What can we do to sort of get people on board, right, with the fact that what they're doing, in my opinion, right, is not only preventing us from providing the housing that we need, but really forcing families to have to separate, right? Because so many of our young people are moving off island.
Yeah, and that's another big point right there. And I think looking at existing homes, that we can add additional dwelling units on existing homes, even in farm lots. I mean, farming is a big part, but we got to rethink on how we do things today and from yesterday.
I got it.
And again, what is affordable? We're trying to find whatever income or resources we can secure here to better lessen the burden on the people at all different levels. So for me, I think in the experience that I've had, and working on several bills like we talked about earlier, and to sure that we can do additional dwelling units. We have the 800 square foot unit you can have now, but then more than that. And I think working and seeing and understanding the different teams that need to be placed, we're on that track right now, so I'm happy that we have that opportunity.
All right, thank you. So the next question is about economic diversification, right? We all know that Kauai has long relied on tourism, but it leaves the island vulnerable to economic downturns like we saw during the pandemic. So there's an ongoing need to diversify the economy to create more resilient and sustainable economic opportunities for our residents. Potential sectors for diversification include, but are not limited to, agriculture, technology, healthcare, renewable energy, and the arts. What is your vision for economic diversification on Kauai, and which sectors do you believe hold the most promise for our island's future?
Oh my goodness, economic diversity, that is a big part of securing the resources that we need overall, right? And I've been involved in many studies and plans and all that, like for Kaua, example, for the development plan there, and ensuring that we have enough resources, whether it be parking and traffic and addressing infrastructure and all of that stuff, right? And then the bigger picture, tourism in general, when I grew up, was a big part of our community. And so how do we continue that? And I think by connecting and bringing the resources back to assure that we can move forward within each of our communities. Diversification, oh my goodness, agriculture, I mean, we come from old plantation days. I understand that, but how do we confirm, like the ag park in Kilauea? That's a big one that we created there. And the whole idea was that to, from farm to table, farm to school, farm to, creating that kind of understanding on the foods part of it, and then creating duplications of that kind of ideas and thinking as we continue to move forward. So I know Kupu Kilauea is a big example to me about community putting all the resources together and then reaching out into the community. And then in tourism, you mentioned about tourism again, cocoa palms and all of that kind of thinking. My grandmother folks all worked in the hotel industry, so we got to figure out how, and as a leader in the government, to get the voice of the people on the table and then giving the resources back.
There you go, the voice of the people. I like it. Thank you.
It's just how, and they remember that, but it's not happening. So people are just kind of moving. So as a council member, legislative branch is to kind of bring the voice to the table and then go.
Right.
And then we go and reach out from whatever. I mean, to me, that's versus the other side, just kind of,
Right.
So you say, okay, let's go.
Right.
So I kind of get excited about and concerned about this question because, and I have my grandchildren now, and we're trying to keep everybody, secure and at home. And it's like difficult.
It is.
I've heard so many different stories. Am I talking too much? But
No, you're fine.
I think it's important as leaders and business people and government leaders that we sincerely reach. And there's no matter, visitors will come and people from, which is okay.
Yep.
But at the same time, whatever happened in the past, happened in the past, but we're talking about the future now.
Right.
And it's so different.
Yeah.
And all of our aunties and uncles, they don't understand. So we got to make it a better delivery and understanding of this is where we're at, this is what we need, and this is how we're going to get it.
There you go.
And I have the experience to reach out and do it. I just need we need to connect and move.
There you go.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah, no,
that.
you're great.
Really helpful. All right, continuing to another topic is our climate change and environmental sustainability. Kauaʻi is particularly vulnerable to impacts of climate change, including coastal erosion, extreme weather events, and threats to natural habitats. And we know addressing these climate changes and promoting environmental sustainability is critical. Okay. Kauaʻi has explored various strategies, including coastal protection, renewable energy adoption, waste reduction, and sustainable agriculture. So how would you address climate change and promote environmental sustainability on Kauaʻi?
Oh my God. This is another one that, talking about sea level rise and just we're an island and it's going to happen. And an example that I've been trying to work, is wastewater and all that, get it out of like the lid gate sewer system and all that, relocating stuff like that. Why wait till a disaster comes? We need to relocate and think that way. Addressing climate change, we had the whole coastal path that we created along the beach area. That was a big issue, but I think in combining and understanding how it will develop and then move forward on that, because climate change is going to happen no matter what. And I think there's a lot of good opportunities and resources out there that needs to connect to this discussion. My understanding again is our beaches are eroding pretty bad in certain areas, and so we need to address those. But we can't if we don't have the right funding. Like Wailua Beach right there in the front, that had been an issue, and they say, why are you building a coastal path right in front there when it's going to go away? But I think if we manage it better and move it, I think it's going to be, we have a opportunity to keep everything in place.
Thank you. So next question is about transportation. While visitors contribute to traffic congestion, the surge in traffic when schools resumed in August underscores the impact of resident commuters on the island's transportation system as well. In addition to infrastructure improvements, Kauaʻi has been exploring various efforts to reduce traffic congestion, such as expanding bus services, developing safer bike lanes, encouraging walking through improved sidewalks and pathways. However, our island's rural nature and the dependence on cars present unique challenges. Here's the question. What solutions to ease traffic congestion on Kauaʻi resonate most with you?
Bottom line, born and raised on Kauaʻi, we got to go Mauka. We got to use the old plantation roads. We got to figure out a way, because it's there. I can get from Wailua Bridge all the way up to Wailua, all the way up and out to Lihui. We can get from the old power line road all the way to Hanalei without even getting on the main. I mean, it's there. It was used before. And we talked about this before, and I'm an advocate for it, and how to reuse and look at other ways to do traffic or safely, of course. But there are other routes that our old plantation days or trucks utilize to get where they needed to go instead of the main road. And it's obvious that we only have one. You go here and you go back, right? So I think with that, and then I totally support, walkable, bikeable communities. I think that's another part. Get out of your car and walk or bike. Right. But we got to make it safe. We got to make it connected. We got to make sure the paths are, in the areas that is safe, like I just said, or they've been a coastal within a town core. So that's another part. In addition to looking at different routes that is already there, the footprint is there. We got to provide, here we go again, the resources to make it work. Yeah. Whether you're going Mauka up to Wailua, from Hanalei, you're coming on the, to the power line road, and even up to Koke. I mean, all of that. Yeah. It's there. The footprint is there, and we've been talking about this. So I think with that part, and then encouraging, like how we did right here in Lihui, the whole town core, walkable, bikeable, kind of a community, and then a transportation system, our Kauaʻi bus, additional opportunities, shuttle services, getting people out of their cars where they can park and walk. I'm sorry, but all the different pathways and walkways. So I think that's the bigger part and the vision to me. And that we got to do it not only in certain parts, but all parts of our island needs that kind of understanding from Kekaha all the way to Hanalei.
Right.
But again, the biggest part for me would be utilizing those back roads.
All right.
A good example is the bypass road.
Yeah.
If had it not been for the bypass
Yeah,
road,
right.
you'd have to go to Kauaʻi. Just think about that.
Yeah.
But now you can get up there.
Right.
So there are old plantation pineapple roadways that was used more for maintenance, but now we can convert that into ways that we can enjoy ourselves and travel this island in a different way and more
Love it.
safe.
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Helpful.
Nice.
All right, continuing forward with agriculture and food sustainability.
Ooh.
Agriculture has the potential to play a larger role in Kauai's economy by providing local food, preserving open space, and contributing to economic diversification. However, challenges such as limited infrastructure, general disinterest of younger generations, and the need for startup financing persist. What is your vision for a thriving agricultural sector on Kauaʻi, and what actions would you prioritize as a county council member?
As county, I mean, to me, again, the prime example would be our Kilauea project, the Ainaho Kilauea. I mean, that to me was food to table, food to school, working with the children. Even in Kauaʻi, we had the Future Farmers of America. I was part of that when I was growing up. We got to get our young students back to understanding what agriculture means for our island, whether it be through livestock, whether it be through growing, whether it be whatever. We got to get our young people. At the same time, looking at the infrastructure we currently have, and if we can create agricultural parks throughout the island and make it educational and worthy of the understanding of the importance of agriculture. And I always go back to old plantation days, whether it be pineapple and sugar and sugar cane, you know?
Yeah.
But for me, we have a good example in Kilauea. I keep going back to that. And then out in Kekaha and Eleele, I mean, there's opportunities there with land, of course, on the west side, coffee, you know, all of that. But how do we continue to offer the opportunity there? And I think we have footprints already in place. We have understanding of what we need to, we come from those days. So if we as a council can connect with the farmers and encourage, like I said, with the cattle, the beef side, because I know the Sanchez, I used to work in a, carry the beef, you know, as it got slaughtered in our old plantation days. And so I think that's the kind of thinking we need, and local grown, local beef, local everything, at least an option, and then go from there.
Yep.
And so to me, the agricultural park thinking needs to resonate in other parts of our island, which I think going to attract more resources to make it happen, and more better educational understanding for students, for young people.
That's great. Thank you. So the next question is on destination management. The Kauai Destination Management Action Plan aims to manage tourism in a way that benefits residents and visitors alike by promoting sustainable practices and enhancing community engagement. What are your top 1 or 2 priorities for tourism on Kauai?
All I know, the tourism of yesterday is different than the tourism of today. Like I said, pretty much all my family members come from the tourism industry, whether it be in the hotel or whether it be in the Smith's boats, or everybody worked there. So we want to invite and welcome our visitor, but we also got to educate our visitor on, when you come to our island, this is what you need to do, or this is where you need to go, and this is how you visit these very parts. I still think transportation is a big part. In and out vehicle parking, of course, is a big part, but shuttle service is, to me, a big plus if we can. The hotel industry, of course, has been struggling, a little bit, but I think if we can work with the development plan or the tourism plan and HLTA and HTA and all those guys, and really provide that support that they need. I'm talking as a council member now, and get the resources out that way. Because again, we got to make sure that our visitor has the right experience, but they understand our culture. They know where we come from. They know how we're not saying don't come. Come. We want you to come. But this is what you got to understand, and how you're going to visit our island, and ensure that you're not going to get hurt. You're going to make sure you're going to, reach out that way. And then at the same time, educate and connect our local families and our business community and give them the resources as government officials and leaders and in the business. I think that's a big part, and I totally support agriculture and making sure that we provide every single resource. Even Hanalei, the taro, and all of that, and now Kauaʻi coffee, and Lidgate Farms, and that was an awesome opportunity to share that. Oh, and then taking our story to the hill, taking our story to the different parts and explain to them, you can come. We have some rules here, you guys.
Yeah, right.
And come, but this is what you need to do when you come. And aloha, and I think that's a big part in promoting what we got to do. I'm kind of going overboard, Council, but that's okay. And then, that's my thinking on that.
There you go.
Great. Well,
Thank you.
thank you. And as we conclude, is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers?
I'm so thankful for this opportunity to share my heart, my pu'uwai. I've been in leadership roles in so many different ways, but my role now is Papa, so I love that. But at the same time, serving as a government leader at the council capacity and assuring that whatever is coming our way, I will do whatever I can to connect with my fellow council members and be assured that I truly understand the administrative side and how we connect the resources. And sometimes we gotta all connect and take ourselves afar and bring everything back, the resources, meaning to Washington, D.C., back to, the different islands from Maui to Honolulu, we're all connected, and back to the island of Kauaʻi. And be assured, for me, I have the understanding and the resources and ability to reach out as a team member now, and then connecting and then bringing back. I think that's the biggest part, whether it be tourism, agriculture, infrastructure for, and of course, disaster situations that come about. We got to be prepared. Preparedness is a big part. And I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
So I think that's another part that we got to assure that we're reaching out and educating our residents, our people, and our visitors. When you come, you visit, you spread the aloha, but when you go back, aloha too, right?
Yeah.
And then all of that. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm thankful for the chance to speak and look forward to serving one more term. And I'm ready. And thank you. And thanks for you, the chamber. And all you
Well,
guys
thank you
do.
as well
Thank
for
you
your
so much.
time.
Really?
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah, all right.
Aloha.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Great talking with you today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
And so, mahalo nui loa for joining us today. We hope these interviews give you a clearer understanding of the candidates and the vision they have for our beloved island.
We'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the incredible support that made this series possible.
First, a big thank you to the Hawaii Crop Improvement Association.
We also want to express our gratitude to our Hawaii Lodging and Tourism Association, our Kauaʻi chapter, for their continued partnership.
A special thanks goes out to Hōʻike, Kauai Community Television, for providing the platform to bring these important conversations to you.
We're also grateful for Kauai Island Utility Cooperative for their unwavering support in our community initiatives.
And thank you to KKCR, Kauai Community Radio, for helping us reach more of you across the island.
We couldn't have done this without Kekaha Agriculture Association, who have been champions of local engagement.
And last but certainly not least, a heartfelt thanks to Meridian Pacific for their generous support of this effort.
Remember, your voice matters. Make it heard. Be sure to vote in the upcoming election and help shape the future of Kauaʻi.
Thanks for watching. Ahui ho.
Ahui ho!